Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's morning for me. And today I just wanted to kind of hop on because I haven't been on YouTube for over a month, maybe well over a month. And I do try to put out a video at least once a month, if not 2, 3 times a month. So I just wanted to hop on, share a little update as to why I haven't been as active on YouTube recently, my intentions for moving forward with regular content, and also just sharing some life experiences that are happening in my world that I think are relevant to talk about for all of us in terms of maybe an IFS outlook, but certainly a self-growth, self-healing perspective. I am in the middle of a Hakomi training, which, if you're not familiar with Hakomi, a very beautiful method. I encourage you to just do a quick search and you can learn about it. I might share more about Hakomi on this channel down the road. But it's a really beautiful modality that blends incredibly well with IFS, and really grateful for the experience of learning. In addition to that, I did make a video letting people know I've moved into this van as of November 1st, 2024, and it's been amazing. There's also been a lot to do and prepare for as myself and my family get ready to head out on quite an extended adventure, road trip adventure. So, installing new solar panels and new batteries and just all the little details. Downsizing from a 3-bedroom house into a tiny little van, it takes a lot of time. So I've been busy with that and really enjoying it. As some of you know, I have a son who is at this time 5.5, 5 3/4, as he likes to remind me. And he lives with me half of the time. So we've been spending I've been spending half of my week with him in this van, and we've been having just incredible, magical adventures. So I wanted to kind of speak. So this is where I'm at. I hope that's just helpful, maybe fun to know. But I don't offer this all just to share about me. I offer it because I have learned some things about this time living in this van, being in nature, and spending time with my son that relate to, I think, all of us humans. And I wanted to kind of speak to these learnings so that I can maybe excite you to investigate how these can get you closer to the life that you really want to be living.
Are you interested in becoming an IFS coach? The self leadership coaching training might be a great fit for you. I have a link in the description box down below where you can get all the information. Reach out to me with any questions.
Because while I do focus on how can we use IFS on ourselves, the reason I focus on that is because I genuinely want all of us to be living the life that we want to be living. And I see that as a very peaceful, harmonious existence. So there's lots of different ways to do that, right? You don't have to only do it through the lens of IFS. There's lots of different ways to do that. Something that came up in the Hakomi training this weekend is about unconsciousness versus consciousness and about new experience. Unconsciousness is where our habits lie. That's where, from the IFS perspective, parts are running the show. When we bring in consciousness, we're also bringing in self. Self awareness is the manifestation of consciousness. And from that place, we can decide what habits we actually want to engage in. And in that, it kind of doesn't even become a habit anymore because habit is habituated. It's an unconscious. And some habits, we really like, and we don't need to decide to do them. They're very healthy for us. Maybe we've spent a long time making sure that it is a habit, that it's ingrained, that we don't have to think about it, we just do it. But a lot of our habits are things that our parts are doing in order to care for us, but they may not have the full picture. And that's why we have other parts that are very critical of the habits, the actions, the thoughts, the behaviors that are coming from these parts. So, from a place of consciousness, we actually get to decide, do I want to do this thing or do I not want to do this thing? And consciousness is easy to speak about, but it's actually can be quite challenging to find. And it can be even harder to hold on to, especially when we have a lot of habit, when we have parts that are used to coming in and doing their thing. It may be a habit that we allow our parts to express their habits. So in this Hakomi training, this distinction between the unconscious and the conscious, and how to activate more consciousness. And one of the things that was brought up, this is my interpretation, new experience can elevate consciousness. And that makes sense, right? Because when we're in an environment that we're used to being in, we don't really have to pay attention. We don't have to be aware. We can be, and bringing in consciousness to our daily routine or things that have become habituated, that's very powerful. But as I said, sometimes it's harder. It's easier than it sounds. To actually do it can be challenging, and we have to practice that. And I want to practice that. I want you to practice that. But one way to allow consciousness to present itself maybe more easily is through new experience. And it can be as simple as, if you're used to sleeping on the right side of the bed, you could sleep on the left side of the bed. If you're used to eating at 6, you could eat at 5:30. There's an infinite number of things that we can just adjust slightly that can activate this consciousness. And then there's more obvious and perhaps extreme versions of that, like the thing that I just did, which is moving out of a house and into a van. It's changed everything that I do, right? I have to figure out a lot of new things. And even now, it's been November, December, January, February. It's been 4 months. I'm still learning. I'm still in the new experience. And what I have found is that my consciousness is much more activated without me trying to. It's just there. So, new experience. This is an idea I want to implant into you from this video. When we have habits that parts of us really don't like, we can get stuck in a place of, we do the thing, we feel like we don't have will, we do the thing, and then we have these parts that are like, you shouldn't do that thing. And maybe we have a part that comes up with a plan as to how not to do that thing. And we promise ourselves we're not going to do that thing. And then this part comes back and does that thing. And then that activates, of course, shame and guilt, a lot of self-criticism, feelings of worthlessness. And while it is valuable, very valuable, to spend time with each of these parts and really investigate what is going on, when you get to the place where this has been happening for maybe a long time, It means that these parts have created a pretty tight system of their own where they're all interacting in these ways that kind of strengthen their grip, we could say. And it can be very difficult to just be you, to be self-led. And so sometimes, rather than trying to go at this directly, we can just do something else. We can change something in our life that allows more consciousness to be here. And in consciousness, I'm using this term consciousness, but I haven't really explained what I really mean by it. And what I mean by it is uh, a place where you are alive. You're truly alive and living. And that means that there's appreciation for the incredibleness that is happening at every single moment. That you can actually see and be in the beauty of this thing called life. That's consciousness. That's the type of consciousness I'm speaking about. I also believe that this is a place of just innate love for ourselves, for other people, and for life energy, for this thing that we are currently in, that we feel love. And if we can be in that state, and if we can activate that state more regularly, then maybe we don't have to go head on with dynamics within our parts that feel like they're stuck. And we're not avoiding that, we're not ignoring it, we're just allowing for consciousness, for the love of life, for the appreciation of life to arise. I also want to talk about the experiences that I've been having with my son. It doesn't matter if you have kids, plan to have kids, don't plan to have kids. This is relevant for you. As adults, or maybe you're not an adult right now if you're watching this video, but as a grown person, you most likely have parts that are very, very young. They could be 5.5, 5 3/4. They could be younger. When I'm with my son, what I have found is that being in nature, being in new environments that are relaxing, nature is just such an easy and obvious one. Having new experiences that are gentle and presencing and powerful. For me to be in my consciousness, or to be in my self energy, to be in my appreciation of life, and to be with him, I can feel his version of that, his appreciation, his wonderment, his amazement. And the most simple things, like stacking rocks, we can do for an hour in that place. And I sense in him a deep satisfaction. So why do I bring this up? Because as I said, we most likely all have very young parts in us. And through different methods, we can follow trailheads, and we can find ourselves, we can drop in and drop in and drop in and get there and be with these younger parts that maybe really, really need our help. And that is encouraged, and it is fantastic. It's also not the only way to be with them. Another thing that we can do is take ourselves into places like nature, sitting by a river, and stack some rocks, but invite these younger parts of us to do it with us. And it can literally be as simple as that. Hey, if there's any younger parts in here, or maybe you've already identified a younger part that you are thinking about right now, you can connect with that. You can send out what I call a broadcast to your system. If you don't know if or where or who these younger parts might be, just a broadcast to the system. Hey, I'm going to go out in nature today. I'm going to take this very gentle hike. I'm going to look for birds. I'm going to be with the trees. And I would love for any parts that want to come with me. Because these younger parts, and many of our parts, whether they're young or not, they want to do these things. They want to live life with us. And just like you, they want to be in consciousness. They want to be in appreciation. They want to be peaceful. They want to stack rocks next to a river. They want that fulfillment. They also want that time with you, and they want you to initiate it. Because however you orient to your parts, you are something of their parent now. You are the leader of your internal family. And just like I lead my son to the river, and I might lead the stacking of the rocks, so too can you do that for your inner family, and especially for your younger parts. So new experiences can activate consciousness, taking your younger parts with you in activities that activate consciousness. These are the two takeaways that I want to leave you with, and would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you have done something like this before, what you've noticed. If this is the first time you've thought about it and you end up trying it out, really want to hear from you so that we can learn. If you've watched this video for 18 minutes now, you're probably a good candidate to let you know that another thing I've been working on is a membership platform. And right now we have 3 recorded IFS sessions, trying to do at least 1 a month, maybe 2 a month, that are posted with cliff notes. We also have Q&As regularly where we all meet, and lots of different places for you to ask questions and to engage with other people. All around this type of stuff, our focus is self-led IFS, but we can bring any of this type of stuff that brings more consciousness, that brings more self, more growth, more healing, more peace, and more presence. So I welcome you to check it out. It's not broadcasted public. It's only been offered to people who have signed up for my email list. But on this video, I am going to put a link for those of you who have made it this far. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom. That's where I'm going to hide the link. And the reason I'm doing that is because I do want it to be potent. And my assumption is if you are dropping into a video like this where it's a bit slower, it's a bit more organic, it's a bit more story, that I think you would probably be a good candidate for joining the membership. So I'm going to invite you to do that. Link at the very, very bottom. And I just wish you all the best. Many blessings to you, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.